All right, welcome guys. We got the first real playoff slate of the year, and I'm super excited to talk about this one. We got basketball all day long, 4 good games. Yeah, I'm really excited. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name's DK, and we'll take a look at what we know so far. We're really not waiting on any news. I mean, I guess Austin Rivers is questionable, but I fully expect him to play. That's basically it. So yeah, there's not much. Jeff Teague is available to play. Okay, sure. So let's take a look at these Vegas odds. We have Heat and Bucks at 225.5 over under. The Bucks are 5-point favorites. Mavs and Clips 217.5 over under. This one's the lowest on the slate. Clippers are 5.5-point favorites. Celtics and Nets at 232 over under. The Nets 8-point favorites. A little bit of blowout risk there, but I talked about this in the video. I was like, if Boston keeps this game close, you're going to want at least one piece of Boston. Like Boston, I feel like has a lot of upside, at least their players for DFS. And then Blazers and Nuggets, a 227 over under. The Nuggets 1.5-point favorites. Don't agree on that spread. I'll tweet it out, my finals predictions, but I got the Blazers making a run here. I think this is a year they could be a dark horse team. So I guess before we get into the breakdown, if you guys could leave a like button, it helps me out a ton. And yeah, let's just jump into it. So Miami and Milwaukee, another team I like here for DFS, starting off on the Miami side, with Jimmy Butler and Bam at the top. 8.3 and 8.4K. It's just 200 priced, right? These are guys that, like a week or two ago were like 9.5K? Like Jimmy was like close to 10K. Bam was like over 9K. 8.4 and 8.3, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The Bucks, they play super fast. Jimmy, gonna play close to 40 minutes. Back injury. I'm not worried about it. It's the playoffs. I think he'll tough it out if it's really bothering him. If that's something you're really worried about, then sure, you can go elsewhere. But yeah, I think we get close to 40 minutes from Jimmy Butler, and the 8.4K price is just way too cheap. So I really like Jimmy at the top, and I do like Bam Adebayo a good amount too. I think you could play Bam over Jimmy. I think Jimmy's going to be more popular. I think Jimmy's more the optimal play. Would I play both? On a 4-game slate, probably not, but weirder things have happened, right? Game could go to overtime, right? So anything can happen. But I think if you want to get different in your lineup and the last piece in is either Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo, maybe then you just go Bam, because I think he comes in at lower ownership than Jimmy Butler. But yeah, I like both a good amount here at their respective prices. I think they are two of the better plays for sure. Scrolling down a bit more, a Hero at 6K. I mean, I'm a big Tyler Hero fan. I just don't know if I can pay 6K for him. I think I would rather get to the point guards. Now, he has had some pretty big games. Again, this last game was when everyone was out. But he's been a little bit more scoring dependent, I guess. I'll probably take a wait-and-see approach on Hero. I want to see how many minutes he plays in this one. My guess would be somewhere around 25 to 30 off the bench. But I think I'll take the discount on guys like Dragic and Nunn. Now, I'm assuming Nunn's going to start. Do we have the starting lineup? I don't think it's going to be the situation of last year where Nunn was like the starting point guard the whole year and then they just kind of like benched. He like barely played in the playoffs. My assumption is Nunn starts and plays 25 to 30 minutes, which I think makes him a fair play. I think I prefer Dragic off the bench though. I think he gets similar run, and since he's coming off the bench, will probably be a little bit of a higher usage guy. So both those point guards I like, but I think I prefer Dragic at 4.9. I think he is a really solid value play. Going down a bit more, there's actually a little bit more I think you can have some interest in here. Trevor Ariza at 4.7K, kind of a fine filler play. He'll play 30 to 35 minutes. He's a guy that can do it all. Doesn't have insane upside, but like I get it if you play him, right? The minutes should be there for a guy like Trevor Ariza. And finally, Duncan Robinson. I do like Duncan for GPPs. The range of outcomes is super wide for him. Again, he's got to hit his shots. But he's literally identical to Joe Harris, right? They're almost identical price points. They're literally the same player, right? All they do is shoot threes. Their production comes from shooting threes. If they're missing their shots, they're going to kill you. But if they get really hot, and Duncan he can go for 30 plus, even 40 plus. So I do like Duncan for GPPs as a value play, but again, the floor is low. Probably not going to get to anything else here for Miami. Thrifty Nickel, the $10 super chat. Thank you, man. Cleaning and Found 10. Thanks to the DK for the content. Hey, appreciate that, man. That's great. Where'd you find the 10 at? In between the couch cushions or something? But appreciate it, man. lock Duncan now. No, I think Duncan's a pretty good value play. I do. Okay, so let's move on to Milwaukee. The Milwaukee side I don't like as much, and it's just kind of price point things, right? So Giannis Antetokounmpo 10.7K. Obviously, he's not out of play. Like, he's not out of play, but this is one of the worst matchups against the Miami Heat. I just think there's, like, okay, we have Giannis at 10.7. I would rather get to Tatum at a similar price. I'd rather get to Jokic at a similar price. I like the matchups way better for those two. So, optimal build-wise, I'm not really looking to Giannis. Obviously, you can still get to him. Like, he's Giannis Antetokounmpo. He can still have a really good game in a bad matchup. It's just not something I'm going to go out of my way to play. And Middleton and Drew are kind of the secondary plays. I like more at that price range, right? Okay, would you rather play Jimmy Butler or Chris Middleton? Would you rather play Kawhi Leonard or Chris Middleton? There you go. DiVincenzo at 5.1K. Should play 30 minutes. It's fine as a filler. Again, don't really have a super strong take on it. Bobby Portis, not really interested in. Brook Lopez just seems kind of priced about right. So Milwaukee's actually a team I don't love. There's not a lot that stands out. Oh, Evan with a $15 super chat. Thank you, man. Much love, bro. Had a nice couple weeks and want to show some love. Hey, really, really appreciate that, man. Yeah, I know you've been grinding the CS:GO. You've had some big CS:GO wins, haven't you? But congrats, man. Yeah, congrats on the big weeks. Hopefully we can keep it going here for the playoff slate. And again, appreciate all the support as always. Leaning toward, I see some Bosnian beast chat. We'll get to that. You guys know I love Nurkic. I love playing Nurkic. All right, guys, we're at 200, almost 200 viewers and 40 likes. If you could, leave a like button in the live stream. It helps me out a ton. Earlier stream, got the coffee today. Try to get some energy in me. All right, so let's move on to Dallas and the Clippers. On the Dallas side, so basically the same thing I'll say about Giannis with Luka, right? It's just he's not out of play, but I would rather get to Tatum. I would rather get to Jokic at a similar price. I like the matchups better for them. So for that reason, I think Luka is more of a contrarian play. We know what Luka's going to do, right? He's going to play 38 minutes. It's just the matchup's not great here against the Clippers. Now, he did have a couple of big games against them in the bubble last year. Remember that massive game where he hit like the game-winning three? He had like 80 fancy points, I think, that day. So, Luka Doncic is a guy that is not out of play, but again, more contrarian. Like, if we're talking optimal build-wise, I think I would actually prefer a guy like Porzingis to Luka. And it's just because he's 8.1K, and I think we probably get about 35 minutes from Porzingis. So, like, taking price in consideration, this is not the normal slate. Playoff slates, there's not a ton of value. So, you actually kind of want to lean towards more of a balanced approach. There's not a ton that stands out for value. So, that's why I think I prefer Porzingis over a guy like Luka Doncic. Patrick with a $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Had a big win Wednesday because of you. Good luck, and let's win big. Yeah. You won like almost $500, right? Off of a, was it $5 single entry? Either way, congrats, man. Yeah, you've been working hard, so you deserve that big win. So appreciate it again. Cantor, yeah, we'll get to Cantor today as well. Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate the support. You guys are the best. Okay, so that's kind of my take with the top two guys. Yeah, I think I prefer Porzingis, actually, if we're talking optimal build over a guy like Luka Doncic. Now, the value here for Dallas is a little tricky, right? Hardaway Jr. 5.5 feels a little bit too pricey for a guy that has to hit his shots. Dorian Finney-Smith doesn't really stand out at 4.9. Probably plays somewhere around 30 to 35 minutes. But again, like, do we need that? Jay Rich has actually been losing minutes. Like, if he was playing his normal 35 to 38 minutes like he was earlier in the season, or even, I think it was earlier this season, then I would be okay with that. But, like, right now, even in close, I know there's been a lot of blowouts, but even in close games, he hasn't really cracked 30 minutes. Which is a little bit concerning. So, not out of play, but there's more risk involved. And then Brunson, his minutes really fluctuate off the bench too. I'm just worried about Carlisle, like, maybe cutting his minutes short here for the playoffs. But, like, of the two, of Brunson and Jay Rich, if I'm going to take a shot in one, I might just roll the dice on Brunson and hope the minutes are there, because he's the more productive of the two between Brunson and Josh Richardson. And then with Powell and Kleba, Kleba is probably loses a few minutes for a guy like Powell. Kleba himself is just a terrible point per minute guy. Minutes have been all over the place for him. He's been a little bit banged up. I think he's not out of play because of the 3.5K price, and he plays 30 minutes. There's a good chance he gets you there. I'm just not, sure. What are the minutes going to be hit for Kleba, right? They've been all over the place. I know a couple games have been banged up. I just don't have a good read on how many minutes he's going to play. If he plays over 30 minutes, he's going to be a good value, but I think there's a chance he only plays like 15 to 20. So that's my take on Kleba. I'm Ramsey with the $5 super chat as well. No comment, but DK the GOAT. Appreciate the man. Not the GOAT at all, but you guys are the GOATs. You guys are the GOATs. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there a free $5 tournament today on DraftKings? Don't forget the free $5 GPP. Is there one? Maybe I missed it. I don't know if I see it. But, okay, so finishing up with Dallas. Yeah, Powell through 8. He's actually been playing pretty well. Minutes might go down a little bit, though, with Kleba in. Not out of play again, though. It's just like the secondary pieces for Dallas I always have an uneasy feeling about. So, moving on to the Clippers. Again, Kawhi Leonard is one of my favorite plays of the slate. 8K is just way underpriced. He's been involved with a bunch of blowouts. He should play close to 38 minutes. I love Kawhi here. He is not an 8K player. That's way too cheap. Also, Paul George is too cheap. 7-8 is also way too cheap. These guys should be like 9K plus and 8K and 7.8. I love both. I think you could realistically play both, but because how underpriced they are, I think maybe picking one for the optimal build is probably the way to go. I think for me, maybe a slight edge to a guy like Kawhi over Paul George, but I like both a lot here on the slate. I think they're two of the better plays of the slate. Going out a bit more, Marcus Morris at 5.4 is kind of just like fine. Zubac should split the center minutes with Ibaka. I think I actually prefer taking a shot on Ibaka, who's the better point per minute guy. 17, 19 minutes last couple games. I think we get about 20 from him off the bench. He's going for 29 and 26 in limited time. So Ibaka is actually a GPP value play I kind of like off the bench. And then Pat Beverly's going to start at 3-3. I just don't know if it's necessary. He's not going to play huge minutes. Rondo at 4-4. I think if of the two guards, maybe prefer Rondo, but it's not a play I feel super good about because I just don't know, like, how many minutes does he play? He could play, I think, somewhere around, like, 15 to 30. If he only plays, like, 15-ish, then not so much. If he plays, like, close to 30, he's going to have a really good game. So I just don't know how the minutes going to work out for this, like, the bench guys to the Clippers. But Rondo, yes, playable, just a little bit of risk involved. And Batum, I think, should get some minutes off the bench, too. Maybe about 15 to 20, I think is a fair guess for Batum at 3.5K. If you need someone like really cheap, I think you could do worse. So yeah, Batum, at least someone that is playable for the price. All right, we got about 15 minutes left. I'm going to have to go a little bit faster here. So let's type tequila playoff showdown in the search. Okay. Is it the main slate? Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. 1,800 tequila playoff throwdown free. Appreciate that. Okay. So, Boston, Brooklyn. Again, I'm gonna go a little bit faster now. Boston, I really like Boston here. There's obviously, this game is the most blowout risk, but if this game stays competitive, Tatum, Kemba, absolutely love both. Again, Tatum and Jokic are my two favorite guys at the very top. And he's going to play 40 minutes, and it's just a phenomenal matchup here against Brooklyn. And Kemba Walker's got to be the number 2. He's also going to play close to 40 minutes. I really like the main two guys here for Boston. I think Fournier's firmly in play in the mid-range. He's been up and down this season. He's got to be their number 3 if they want a chance to win this game. Perfectly fine there. Smart's the do-it-all guy. The guy can do the peripherals. He was a chalk bust last slate. Not super worried about it. He still should play big minutes. I'm fine getting to Smart as well. So the main 4 guys all in play. As far as the centers go, I think Thompson might be a little bit safer because he's not banged up. The issue I have with Robert Williams is the turf toe he left last game. It's just a little bit of an uneasy feeling. I do think he's the guy that has the more upside of the two if they split minutes. Like if they go 24-24, I'd rather play Robert Williams. So Robert Williams is still in play for tournaments. I just, again, a little bit worried about his health with the turf toe, and I wouldn't play anyone off the bench. Evan, wow, $25 super chat. Thank you, man. Keep the money train rolling, choo-choo. That is super, super generous of you, man. Again, not necessary at all, but that helps a ton. Blake Griffin, 22%, and we'll get to that in a chat. W, Evan, for sure, man. Thank you. Let's keep it rolling, man. Keep the winning streak for yourself rolling. No room for Tatum. Have to settle for Kemba. Yeah, I get it, right? Tatum, it is a little bit hard to get to those guys at the very top. But, yeah. So, moving on to Brooklyn. Brooklyn's a team with the stars. They're all secondary plays for me because I would rather play guys that are similar. I would rather play Tatum over any one of the big three for Brooklyn. I would rather play Jokic over any one of the big three for Brooklyn. So probably at least one of the big three has a big game. Good luck trying to figure out which one's going to be, right? When all three were healthy this year, it was kind of hard to nail down who was going to have the big game. So like one of these guys is going to have a good game. I don't know if I want to take that risk on the slate. So for me, I'm probably just going to pass on the big three for Brooklyn. Joe Harris is the same player again as Duncan Robinson. He's just got to hit his threes. He's got to hit his threes, so he's firmly in play for value. Again, though, if he's not hitting shots, it's low floor. Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, a little bit worried about their minutes of 4-3 and 3-9 respectively, with the big three healthy and Joe Harris now in too. So they're not completely out of play, but I think the minutes do trend down a little bit for them. The guys I actually do kind of like, and it's so weird to say, are the two bigs for Brooklyn. Blake Griffin at 4-4. I think he starts and plays about 25 minutes. Again, am I excited about playing Blake Griffin at this point in his career? Not really, but there's just not a ton of value on the slate, and I think we get 20 to 25 minutes out of a center from Blake Griffin. So I do have some interest in him. I do like Claxton off the bench too. As long as the Nets don't do something weird and go like small ball Jeff Green, I'm assuming Claxton is going to be the backup five. Now, again, maybe there's a chance they do it. Maybe there's a chance to go small ball Jeff Green. My thought process is, though, this is a big Boston front court, right, with Thompson and Robert Williams. One of those guys is going to be on the court at all times. So I don't really think the Nets can go small and throw like Jeff Green on Tristan Thompson or Jeff Green on Robert Williams. I think Claxton and Blake Griffin are going to split the center minutes pretty evenly. That is what I think happens. Now, who knows? Steve Nash could troll us, but I think Claxton's going to play the backup five here, and we've seen that in recent games. So at 3.5K, he's actually a decent point per minute guy. I like Claxton, and I like Blake Griffin here for value. Finishing up with Portland and Denver. So the top two guards here for Portland firmly in play. I think if you get to Lillard over CJ, if you have the salary, I'd rather get to Lillard. He's got more upside. CJ always seems to go overlooked. 7.9K does seem a little bit too cheap for him. So you have CJ McCollum at basically, you have like Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, and CJ, all about 8K. For me, even though I think CJ is a little bit underpriced, I would rather play Jimmy Butler at a similar price. I would rather play Kawhi Leonard at a similar price. Now, you could play all three. I'm just saying, like, looking at the players and the prices, I would rather get to those other two. Yusuf Nurkic 7-2. I mean, you guys know my thoughts on Nurkic. I really like Nurkic. I think he does play more here. Instead of about 30, maybe we get about 35. It's a revenge game narrative, too. Denver traded him away, right? Traded him away for Plumlee. So, you remember, Nurkic and Jokic used to be on the same team. I don't know if you, like, how long ago was that? That was like 4 years ago. That was so frustrating for DFS because, like, they would play like 10 to 15 minutes. Like one of them would have a really good game, and then like Mike Malone would always troll us and who would get the minutes between Nurkic and Jokic. But that's just a little throwback. But yeah, back to Nurkic. I think he does play more. My only concern is potential foul trouble against Jokic. Now, I brought that up with the show on site last night. I was like, hey, the only way Jonas Valanciunas doesn't get there is foul trouble. And sure enough, he got early foul trouble and killed me. But yeah, Nurkic, as long as there's no foul trouble, I think he gets 30 to 35 minutes, and I do like him a good amount here at 7.2K. Powell's fine his last piece in. He's going to play big minutes. Somewhat scoring dependent, but I'm okay with that if you want to go there. Same thing with Robert Covington. I think he plays about 30 minutes. They're both fine secondary plays. Melo off the bench I think is fine too. I think he gets about 20 to 25 minutes. There's not a ton of value. So like going to Melo on the slate, I'm actually okay with at 4K. And then if you think that Nurkic gets in some foul trouble, I'm okay rolling the dice on a guy like Enes Kanter because we know he's a really good point per minute guy. And if you get like two quick ones on Nurkic, Kanter's coming in. And then Kanter's going to crush at like no ownership. So I think Kanter's actually a good tournament play. I think you kind of need the foul trouble unless Nurkic just plays awful. Because I think normally we're probably only about 12 to 14 minutes out of Kanter, somewhere in that range. But if there's foul trouble for Nurkic, then I think Kanter will play more. So Butler 23% in DK. Man, that seems a little bit low. That seems a little bit low for Jimmy Butler. I like that a lot. 33-minute production for Nurkic. Yeah, I think he plays more than 30-ish. All right, finishing up with Denver. Another team I like. This game looks pretty appealing. So it's at the very top. It's Jokic and Tatum, my favorite plays. Jokic is going to play 35 to 40 minutes here. It's a great matchup against Portland. He looks great. He looks great at the top. He looks like one of the best options if you can afford him. Yeah, so really, really like Jokic. I think MPJ is firmly in play as well at 8.2K. He should also play big minutes. He's going to be the number 2 in offense. Like I said, it's a good matchup too. So the top two guys from Denver, I think, look pretty solid. With Campazzo and Gordon in the mid-range, I think I could give the edge to Campazzo. I think he plays more. I think he can do more, too, on the offensive end. Right now, Aaron Gordon is just more out there for defense, which is really weird because again, he was great for the Magic on the offensive end, but he's really taking a step back. Like, he's deferring more offensively. So I think I would rather take the shot on Campazzo over a guy like Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon not completely out of play. Maybe instead of like 25 to 30 minutes, he plays 30 to 35. So, yeah, he's fine. He's fine at 5K. And then Austin Rivers, I fully expect him to play at 4-2. If he does play and start, I think we get close to 30 minutes, which actually makes him a decent value play. Again, you're not going to get excited about playing Austin Rivers, but like I said, there's not a ton of great value. I think Monte Morris intrigues me off the bench. Maybe if for some reason Austin Rivers does not play, then Monte Morris has become a really good play. I think we probably get about 20 minutes off the bench for him. We know he's actually a decent point per minute guy. He's close to min price. So of like the really, really cheap guys, I think Monte Morris is definitely somebody you can look to. I think we get close to 20 minutes with the backup bigs here with Millsap, Green, and JaVale McGee. So the last game they played that was important, that was like a normal game. Again, they played the end of the regular season, but the Denver starters got limited. They played like a few weeks back, and McGee got the DNP. It was Millsap and Green. Millsap should play the backup 5. I think we probably only get about 10 to 12 minutes unless Jokic gets in some foul trouble. And JaMychal Green should play the backup 4. I think we probably get about 15 to 20 minutes. They're both playable options off the bench, but neither I feel super great about. Millsap's the better point per minute guy of the two. Okay, so that really does it for the breakdown. Let me refresh again, make sure we're up to date and everything. Okay, still no starters, but all right, let's get to some questions, guys. Yeah, top fade. Trying to think who's going to be popular that I'm going to fade. I guess I'll just say... I'll say the Brooklyn guy, the Brooklyn main guys. I'm fading all of them. I think Gordon plays at least 30. Yeah, I think Aaron Gordon's it's a decent option. Monte Morris for value, he's playable. I think he gets about 20 minutes. I would say off the bench. Tonight's going to be the night Duncan Robinson 10 threes. Yeah, Duncan Robinson again. Him and Joe Harris are pretty similar plays. So I think they're both good tournament plays. Guys, we're at almost 70 likes and almost 300 viewers. If you guys could, if you're coming in, leave a like button. Again, I'll be live for another just under 10 minutes here to answer some questions. Millsap is projected 20% ownership. Feels a little bit high. Feels a little bit high to me because I think he mainly plays the backup 5. And I don't think Jokic is going to play probably close to 38 to 40 minutes. So Millsap will get the rest. Now, I know Millsap is a good point per minute guy when he plays the backup 5, but that feels a little bit high to me. DK Anderson, Brook Lopez, the Bucks are going to need his size. I think he's fine. I think he plays about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, playable value. Butler, Kemba, Rivers, Rondo, Dame, Millsap, Ibaka, and Leonard. It's a little bit risky, but I like the players you got in there. Guys like Rondo off the bench has some risk. Obviously, Ibaka off the bench, maybe not as much risk. He's a lot better point per minute guy, but and Millsap again, minutes I don't think are going to be huge on him. But like if things go right, I could see that having a pretty big day. Kemba, Morris, or Dragic and Smart for GPP. Whoo. That's pretty close to me. I'll go Dragic, Smart. Can you play both Tatum and Walker? I think you can. If that game stays, the only thing you have to worry about there is the blowout. But yeah, if that game stays close, you're going to see some pretty big games out of those two guys, I think. 3.5K for utility. So I think you got a couple options. I think you got, all right, so where are we at? You can play Batum. I think plays about 15 to 20 minutes on the bench. I'm pretty sure Claxton's going to play the backup 5 here unless Steve Nash trolls us. I like him. And then I think Monte Morris off the bench looks decent. So you got like Morris, you got Claxton, you got Nick Batum. I think are the 3 guys you can look to. Jokic and Dragic or MPJ and Drew. Give me Jokic and Dragic there. I think living in the mid-range looks good today. Yeah, I would say I would prefer going a little more balanced today than stars and scrubs. Nurkic or Bam. Give me Nurkic for the discount. That's how you... Let's see. 4.3K or below utility last piece in. Okay, so let's take a look at that. 4.3K. Again, Richardson and Bruce Brown I don't feel amazing about. I'll go Rivers. I'll go Rivers there. Rivers or Melo for me. I think Rivers, if he plays, should play about 30 minutes, and Melo probably about 20 to 25 on the bench. I'll go to one of those two. If you want to take the shot in Brunson, I think he's got upside, but a little bit worried about his minutes. Any Millsap love in DK? I think he's perfectly fine. I think it might be a little bit over-owned. I think he's strictly going to play the backup 5, so whenever Jokic is not out there, Millsap will be out there. And Millsap is a good point per minute guy. So, yeah, I think he's for sure in play for value. Bryn Forbes, I'll pass on. Monte Morris and Nurkic or Duncan Robinson and Marcus Smart. I would rather play the first one. Pat Bev or Monte for 3.3. For me, it's Monte. I think he's the better point per minute guy of the two. I think both play pretty similar minutes. Like, Pat Bev will start. I think both get about 20 minutes. Monte Morris, Claxton, or Iggy. Yes, I'm not really looking at Iguodala. I think Claxton probably has the most upside if we get the sentiment. If we split the sentiments down the middle of Claxton and Blake Griffin, then I like Claxton a lot for value. My one concern is I think there's a slight chance that the Nets go small. Maybe they go Jeff Green at the 5. Again, I don't think it happens because Boston is a big team, but there's at least that chance. So that's in the back of my mind. But I do think Claxton, if he gets 25 minutes, he's the value guy I like the best there. Paul George or Drew Holiday. Paul George. Gordon and Anthony or Millsap and Anthony. Gordon and Anthony? Or Millsap. Wait, which Gordon? Aaron Gordon? Yeah, definitely Aaron Gordon. I would rather have Aaron Gordon than Millsap. Iguodala 3K viable. I don't really want to do it. I mean, he'll probably play 15 to 20 minutes, maybe a little bit more. I mean, at the min price, he's probably the only guy who would play at the min price, so I guess. Again, I don't really want to do that, though. Do you prefer Beverly or Monte? I think it's Monte. Yeah, I think Monte would be the guy I would go to. I like the matchup a little bit better. I think he plays about 20 minutes on the bench. Favorite value play under 4K? Okay, so let's look at 4K flat. So Melo at 4K, I think looks pretty good there off the bench. Below that, then it's basically just the same situation of those, like, you got like Millsap, Batum, Claxton, Monte Morris, probably where I'm looking for value. Utility 7.4K and below. Okay, let's take a look up there. I would go Nurkic at 7.2. Any Pat Bev interest for value DK? I think I would rather put Monte Morris at a similar price. Monte and Nurk easy. Yeah, that's it. Gordon or Covington. Aaron Gordon for me there. I just think, even though we haven't seen really the offensive game from Aaron Gordon, I think he's, like, if he starts to turn on and gets back to the Aaron Gordon of the Magic, like, he's got more upside than Rocco. So I would go Aaron Gordon there. Thoughts on GPP? Kemba, Brunson, Butler, Tatum, Claxton, Dragic, Kawhi, Batum. I like it. I like it. You know, there's a couple of risks there, obviously, with Brunson and Batum. Really, the value guys, no one you're going to feel amazing about, but I like your build. Kemba, Paul George, Jimmy, Buckets, Blake Griffin, Robert Williams, Composo, Pat Beverly, Kristaps. I like that too. Iggy viable. Yes, we went over this. Yes, but I don't really want to play him. Kemba or Drew? Kemba. Jay Rich or Melo? Last piece in Melo. Thompson or Cantor? Thompson's way safer. I think Cantor's a good tournament play, but I think you need the Nurkic foul trouble. If Nurkic doesn't get in foul trouble, I think he plays close to 35 minutes. So that's not a lot left for a guy like Cantor. Monte Morris, Paul George, Butler, Blake, Robert Williams, Kemba, Leonard, and Powell. I like that a lot to know. Yeah, I think that looks really solid. That looks really good. Fournier or Powell? Ooh, I think the upside's a little bit higher in Fournier, just because Powell is more of like a kind of stand in the corner, shoot threes guys. He will do some of the peripheral stats, but Fournier, we've at least seen some pretty big games from him. So Fournier is the guy I think you're going for the upside. Playing Paul George and Kawhi, I think you can do it. All right, wrapping it up, guys. Monte Morris is so over-owned. Yeah, I think he's going to be somewhat popular, and it's just because there's not a lot in that range. So you definitely don't have to play Monte Morris. Like, I'm not saying to lock in Monte Morris. I just think of, like, the really cheap guys, he looks decent, right? He should get about 20 minutes off the bench. We know he's a decent point per minute guy, so that's the reason I think he's going to be somewhat popular, is because there's not a lot of value on the slate. Tatum or Irving? Tatum. Smart or Powell? Smart. Yeah, for me it's Smart there. Chocolate for sure. Pineapple on pizza? No, thank you. Do you like Andre Iguodala? Went over this. Not really. Like, if of the min price guys, he's probably the guy you go to, but, like, I don't really want to play him in the slate. All right, let's refresh one more time, and then I will call it a day. Appreciate you guys coming to check out the early live stream today for the playoffs. Okay, so none is starting with Butler, Robinson, Ariza, Adebayo. That's kind of what we expected. And, yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. So none or Dragic. Yeah, it's Dragic for me over none. I like Dragic off the bench over none. Porzingis, he's only 6,900 in FanDuel. That's way too low. Yeah, that's way too low on FanDuel. I would play him on FanDuel for sure. Yeah. I do like jalapeno on pizza, Evan. Yeah, that's a good call. Thoughts on Nurkic, like Nurkic. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Good luck. Enjoy these games. I'll be back here tomorrow to break down Sunday's playoff slate. So I'll see you guys all then.